All right. Hi, Natalie. Nice seeing you.
Hi, Bobby. Thanks so much for joining me for an idle chat. As you know, this is a series for the American Bar Association Section 4 dispute resolution, but mostly we're going to be talking about you. So, Bobby, my first question, my friend in Florida, is do you check the weather every morning before you go out, or do you just open up the door, walk outside, and figure it out as you go?
This is Florida, so that means that if I don't check the weather, I'll be drenched in 5 seconds after I leave the house. I always check to see if it is going to rain because as someone who conducted mediations at home in the office, I can be flexible with when I go out. So I basically work around the weather. Every morning I check the weather to make sure that no thunderstorm is incoming, especially now that June has started and hurricane season has started. Who knows? The potential torrential downpour is imminent.
I think it's good to be aware of any potential torrential downpours. Now, that's a good plan. Bobby, my friend, what is one thing in your house? Let's say a big tornado is coming your direction and you've got 30 seconds to vacate your house. What's the one thing that you grab and just hightail it out of your house?
Uh, Probably my bag. I always have kind of a bag where I keep my essentials, wallet, some medications, what, battery charger, and I stuff my phone in it, and in an instance, I can go anywhere with to evacuate. Hopefully, that would not happen. Of course, I mean, yeah, hurricane season is real down here. We don't get tornadoes, but we do get tornadoes sometimes, but hurricane is probably the biggest reason. So always be prepared. Always have a bag that you can grab with your essentials to go, and make sure that you have your essential tools for to survival.
Well, I'm glad that you're prepared. I don't know how I would answer that question for myself, but I'm glad that you're prepared and you have a plan. Sir, if you had to compete in the Olympics, your choice, Winter or Summer Olympics, but if you had to compete in the Olympics tomorrow, what is the one event that would give you the best shot at winning a medal?
Uh, Speed walking? I have no ideas. Uh, Walking, I am, I go out and exercise, but I'm not a heavy gym workout kind of guy, and probably walking very fast. Well, most of my friends said I walk too fast anyway, but yeah. So probably that's the only physical thing that I can do that might even come close to be a competitive advantage.
You know what? That's better than I could do, Bobby. Better than I could do. If napping, reading
As a
books,
sport,
if those were sports, then I could medal.
yeah. Cooking,
Right.
if it is cooking as a sport, I could do it.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
We need to have housebound Olympics.
yeah. Homebound Olympics, home economics. Who can clean a room faster?
There you go. We could have the Martha Stewart Olympics. That that
That's
that's that's my lane. That's my lane. Bobby, when you're out and about and you're using your GPS, are you the kind of person that sort of follows the predetermined GPS path religiously, or you kind of make your own way and let the machinery calculate?
depends on where I am. I mean, that's going to be one of those things that would be depends. Like when I go to places like New York City and London, the map is a good guide. You can meander. It's in the grid format, or at least the map is well laid out. So you you're not going to be lost quite a bit as much as other places. Uh, if you're in the wilderness, I would definitely follow the GPS very religiously. I'm a city boy my entire life. I do not. I mean, I would freak out if I am, faced with nature instead of concrete. I'm that guy. I know.
That is very, very fair. That's it. Yeah, that's very fair. Um, let's change up the tone a little bit. Tell me about one small kindness that costs nothing but means everything.
I always thank people when they. I al I always thank people and thank them for coming, especially in my work as a neutral. I do not. I want that. I think people are more at ease if they are greeted, if they are being cordial. I know that as a neutral, I should not be particularly friendly to either side, but thank you for coming. I understand the efforts that you need to come here. People have busy lives. People don't always have time to sit down with a neutral. The fact that they make time, whether it is court mandated or not, it doesn't matter whether they whether they make time to appear, it's already an effort that should be acknowledged. And that's especially true for people who are on the let's we deal with power imbalance in mediations all the time. Little guy, big guy. The little guy tend I feel like should feel more at ease when you acknowledge their presence and the fact that the effort to bring them there.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. Thanks. Um, Bobby, what is the most useful thing that you learned outside of school?
Hmm. I would say be generous with your observation and your advice. Not necessarily because that you want to say that you're an expert in front of everybody, but because sometimes providing advice opens a new perspective for the other person. Uh, that's where I I chose being a neutral partly because I grew up with a pretty conflict prone background. I lived through conflict a lot, and the idea that and one of the very core ideas of how I practice mediation is that to sometimes it is essential to open the window in someone else's mind about possibilities they had never thought of before. A third party advice, a third party perspective can sometimes open that up. Like I would tell a friend, for example, who is in a workplace conflict. He is not my client. He is just, ranting to me about, how his workplace sucks. His supervisor is blah 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 blah. Standard workplace rant. So, but I'll say maybe this happens not because your immediate boss is the problem, but maybe it is the structure in which you're dealing with is the problem. Sometimes it's not a person. Sometimes it is the structure that was built consciously or unconsciously that we live in that is the problem.
Yeah. Well, I think it's always a kindness to remind people of the infinite potential in themselves.
Possibilities.
Yes, possibilities. They make a big difference. Sir, if you could master any musical instrument overnight, what instrument would you want to know to play?
I, as someone who was forced to learn the violin and when I was as a teenager and very bad at it, probably if I want to master, I would definitely want to master the violin. I like it. I like the sound of it. I couldn't play it for any kind of reason. It sounds like I'm taking a bow to like a chainsaw, but uh, but if I could master it, yeah, that would be definitely the one instrument that I like. I like how ethereal it sounds. I like the finger work. I like I like a lot about it.
Yeah. And the I could listen to the great masters for hours and hours. Itzhak Perlman. I,
Oh, lovely.
I yep, I could just put his music on a continuous loop for the whole rest of my life and be quite content with it. So,
Hmm.
Mr. Bobby, I'll ask you the same question that I ask every guest on the Idle Chat, and that is to tell me what you love most about the work that you do as a mediator and as a neutral. What really inspires you and motivates you? What do you love most about our industry?
I like the fact that we can bring people. Like I said, I grew up in a very conflict-prone background, and I think one of the things that I love most about mediation is the fact that I can bring people to to a peaceful resolution without extensive conflict. Conflicts give me anxiety. It's just, uh, I can talk to 10,000 therapists about that. But the my goal as a neutral has always been bringing people together to resolve their differences, especially resolve what is really the underlying conflicts underneath what their positions are. Their positions and interests are separate things. Your positions are I demand money from you, but sometimes it's not. Then that's standard civil litigation. But the sometimes it's really not about the monetary. It is about sometimes about respect. Sometimes it's about remorse. Sometimes it is about something that was done that yes, the law can quantify that with money, but that's what necessarily what they want. What they really want and what they really need sometimes are two separate things. And for me, the best thing about mediation, especially mediation that is not necessarily outright civil litigation or insurance claims or anything like that, but more in the human side of things, workplace disputes, human based disputes. It's about it's about finding what is really underneath that conflict and help people resolve it permanently so that it doesn't come up over and over and over again. We tend to do that. The law is great in helping resolve disputes, setting out a mechanism to resolve disputes, but the dispute doesn't resolve itself unless we get to the core of it, or else you're just putting a band-aid on what it is.
So, that is so right. Yeah. So helping people find a durable, reasonable resolution to their issue. I think that is one of the greater gifts that our industry offers to individual in conflict. So if somebody wanted to reach out to you in not just the greater Fort Lauderdale area, but anywhere across the US, and they wanted to talk to you or ask you questions or engage your services, what's the best way for them to find you?
My website is ehcrs.com, as shown here, right here on the logo on the top right left no top left hand corner on the screen. Sorry, my screen is mirrored, so sometimes it's a little. But my website is there where you can find my description of my multiple types of mediation services, plus dispute resolution service from group facilitation, consulting and training, and other services as well. And I'm reachable through there. You can find there to contact me. My email address is bobby.mediates@ehcrs.com. And yes, you can reach me from the website. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you spending some of your valuable time with me today, not out on the beach, not mediating with clients, not running from hurricanes. It was lovely getting to know you a bit.
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. It is so nice for you to invite me to for this for this talk, and I really appreciate it. I also want to thank the DR section of the ABA for having this wonderful outlet for us neutrals to showcase what we do.
They do a great job for their members.